I love the interaction that I have with my students. It's never boring, never. I can honestly say that I can't imagine teaching ever being a boring profession. So we're looking at these two, right? So what do we have to do now? We multiply it. So what's 5? I am a teacher. At times I am a mother. I'm a friend. I'm someone who cares for them and loves them. When they're with me, they're mine, and I'm here to protect them. You got it right. So then that means you can roll the dice and move that many spaces. So I hope that they will forever take care of each other as a family. I hope that they take my voice with them and saying that you have to work hard at whatever you're doing, and that if you fail, that's okay. It just means the beginning of another day and the opportunity to learn and grow and be successful.
I love teaching 4th grade. I love 4th graders. They're 9, turning 10. They are mature to an extent, but they are very innocent and sweet. They are respectful and they want their teacher to be happy with them, but they get the joke. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. My classroom theme has been Mrs. Turner's World Travelers for years. The kids have passports that they get stamps in their passports, like a real passport gets stamps from all around the world. I like to consider my class my family, and I always tell my kids, you know, you're part of Turner's Travelers, and once you're a traveler, you're always a traveler.
And we can't get any of these things up here at the top, can we? Because that's costly.
I think if I could name one thing that I would love my students to take away from the year that they had with me in 4th grade, it would be that Mrs. Turner cares for them. If I can do that for them, then I'm doing something right.
So I am a resource teacher, and I teach kindergarten through 6th grade, just a mix of kids and any subject, behavior, social skills. If you treat these humans like they're future world changers, these little babies, then you're creating change in the world.
Today my mind is alert, my ears are receptive, and I will be successful in math as long as I believe I can.
I see a system, especially for my special education students, that's limiting and labeling, and I see a little small window of the world that I could change. I don't have a huge skill set. I'm not an inventor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not creating the next major app, I'm not curing diseases, but I could be helping the people who do.
6, 7, 42, 6, 8, 48.
Alan Turing, the creator of the first computer, he said, "Sometimes it is the people no one can imagine anything of who do the things that no one can imagine." And I truly believe that about each and every one of my students.
I think really being into it and having relationships with your students and not just like telling the students what they need to know for the next test.
Not being there just to talk.
Yeah. Kind of excited to teach.
I think it is a teacher who cares and isn't that strict.
She has to be strict, but she also has to have that side where she can be like lightly carefree with them, that she can give them their own space so that they can grow.
I think being kind and honest and giving us fun things to do makes a great teacher.
Curriculum-wise, I love teaching science. It appeals to I think all students, girls and boys. It appeals to their curious nature. So if I can help guide them in answering some of those questions, that's terrific.
No, it's not unicellular or multicellular because it's not made of a cell. It doesn't reproduce.
I feel like I know how they're going to remember me. What I want them to remember about me was that I cared about them and I cared about their education and that I gave them 100% every day. I feel like they will probably remember me for some really bad science puns.
Two of the ones with wings have wheels on their feet.
I love to hear when students use the content outside of my classroom. If I can hear them talking about and still curious about something that we've done, that's when I know I've taught a good lesson and I've reached a lot of kids.
Honestly, I feel like a teacher is somebody that has a caring heart, somebody that knows their students, knows them not just as a student, but as a child.
Turn on our listening ears. All right, and we're going to
When I hear them say, look what I did, look, I can do this, and seeing their confidence build, and it's why I love what I do.
Today is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. All day.
Laying the foundation for learning, it can be fun, it can be engaging, and it can be exciting. If you start that off at this age, then it just helps the next year build, and their confidence grows, and hopefully to build lifelong learners. And it starts here, in pre-K.
There are lots of things that make a good teacher. You have to be hardworking, you have to have grit, you can't give up. I mean, every day is different, so you have to be able to solve problems and think on your feet and be a model for the kids in your classroom.
You and your partner need to discuss which one should be there.
What I really want them to understand is the differences between one another and how to show respect to one another because of their differences, how to be compassionate towards each other. To me, it's really important that they appreciate one another for who they are.
Okay, so you are moving up.
They are so impressionable and they are so innocent. They love their teacher, and so that's why I come to school every day, to make sure that they have someone who is respecting and loving them because they do the same for me.
If I could buy her any present in the world, I would buy her a phone because then she could text me and call me. Maybe chocolate.
Another hedgehog because she really likes hedgehogs.
I think teaching social skills is a key for them to make connections to the academics. As we build those social skills and those life skills, then the connection to learning comes. They start learning and making connections to, oh, what she's teaching me not only applies in the classroom, but also applies when I'm in the hallway, applies when I'm at home, when I'm at the store. So I think teaching social skills is a key for them to make connections to the academics. Whenever you start reading that scenario that you have at your desk, each one of you are going to have a scenario. I enjoy working with struggling students. I like working with them at their level and then pushing them up to the next level. Excellent. Okay, so now go ahead and go. It's really amazing when a student thinks that they can't. And because they think they can't, they don't give the effort. So once we change that mindset and then they sit there and they realize, oh wow, I can actually do this. That's when it becomes, a great success.
My students are allowed to have somewhat flexible seating. They do have yoga balls that they're allowed to use at times. They're allowed to be on the floor. If they're comfortable, then they're going to be more open to learning. Studies show that if the mind is in motion, it is more accepting with information.
The best part is you're going to notice that something is different about this poem that you have.
A good teacher will transfer the power of motivation to the student. They can then learn what that feeling of success feels like inside and want to have that feeling instead of constantly looking for other people, outside sources, to feel good about themselves.
Here's the teacher fives part.
If I can create an environment where students learn how to promote each other, encourage each other, what a wonderful world this would be if we would learn to respect each other's thoughts and opinions and how to work side by side.
We move a lot. And so I could say presto means fast, or we could move presto and pretend we're chasing after the ice cream truck that's driving away. Once they can put that in their imagination, then the vocabulary isn't so hard. A lot of times it's students who are reluctant. They don't realize they have a talent, where you just keep working with them, keep being patient. And then after a couple of years, you think, look how far they've come. And I can tell them, look, this is the place where you belong. You found what you're good at.
Wake up, you sleepyhead, and go and hunt the cattle. Wake up, you...
I get to take kids who may not know something, and I can try and build in them a passion for something and a knowledge about something, and I get to watch them grow. It's incredibly fulfilling. It's hard when they go to middle school.
Being a teacher is hard, and if you want to be a teacher, you have to know the responsibility that you're going to have to deal with students every single day. That's pretty much having like 200 children every day.
Well, you have to make sure everybody is on the same level, but Miss Fergie, she always makes sure we are.
It's pretty hard because you have to suffer like through kids for like 7 periods in 8 hours, so.
And sometimes it includes a lot of paperwork, and some kids act up in class.
Their kids inspire me to teach. They're young at heart. If I'm at a dinner party with adults and families, you'll often find me over in the corner talking to the kids.
More like an airplane or more like a PLAIN in its...
The thing I really enjoy about teaching is when they make connections with you and they want to tell you about their day. The other day in science, we were learning about animal adaptations and we were talking about dogs. And when class was over, it was the end of the day and I still had 5 kids wanting to tell me about their dogs. That's a cool thing.
Show me a vertical line segment. Yeah, it doesn't work perfect because it's like your line is kind of...
I had a student many years ago when I first started teaching who had a brain aneurysm. And when I went to visit him in the intensive care unit, I looked on the bedside table and there was a picture of me and him. And that just symbolizes the importance teachers play in the lives of the children.
My job is more than teaching math. I teach 11 and 12-year-olds who are going through a big transition in their life, so math is a big part of what I teach, but I also have to teach them how to get along with each other and to make good choices. So it's more than just math.
The questions that you feel are the best statistical question.
6th graders are definitely a different kind of kid, and they want to have a good time. Yes, we take notes. We have those, dry toast days, but I try to throw in a lot of peanut butter and jelly days too. If you teach 6th graders, you have to have a good sense of humor.
So read that very first box, and you're going to do it in groups in just a second.
I want them to hopefully remember what we've learned in class, the math, of course, and then the life lessons that we've learned in class about being kind to others and doing what they can to make the world a better place.
To me, being a good teacher or being the best I can be is doing what I can to really get to know my kids and individually meet them where they are. Instead of just throwing curriculum out to them and expecting them to meet me, I need to meet them where they are.
Okay, so let's go down to that number 4 where it says convert.
I feel like every kid was put into my classroom each year for a reason, and it's my job to just nurture them and love them and teach them and help them be the best that they can be.
Perpendicular, right, parallel.
I can tell you almost every teacher I've ever had and I grew up here in Rockwall, so I had some great ones, but I can't always tell you what class I had them for. So I think that saying really holds true, that you remember how someone made you feel, not always what they taught you. So I want kids to know that I loved them.
Second grade is amazing. They're able to work more independently, and it was just eye-opening for me to see what they could do already from the beginning of this year.
On your paper, you're going to measure your first item. You're going to take your ruler and you can...
Last year I told them, y'all are the chocolate chip cookie of classes. You're not a plain old sugar cookie. Y'all are like awesome. And this year I'm like, y'all are like the Ranger cookie. Y'all have everything. I mean, they're just that much better than they were last year. It's amazing class. Oh, I'm gonna miss them. It's gonna be awful.
Very nice. Good answer. Who gets measured at the doctor?
You know, I think as adults we kind of think that things are a certain way, and kids bring a whole new perspective to things. Like when the light bulb goes off, it's very exciting to watch that in a student.
Because she makes us very laugh and she makes us jokes. Because everybody was voting for her.
I teach Spanish, so I love using Spanish as a platform to introduce students to other cultures. But I also want to help them figure out what it is that they want to do in life and be a voice for students, be their advocate when they don't know how to be their own advocate.
You are going to get a random tarjeta.
I love it when students ask me a question that is way beyond what I thought they would ask me. Those moments are so awesome to be able to say, yes, exactly.
Brown hair. Kiss on your pussy.
Even though I love Spanish and that's my content area, what's more important to me is that they get comfortable enough in who they are that they can try something and be okay with failing. I really want to instill in them the quality that if they can fail, then that's when growth happens. And I think that's a really important skill that they would have for their future, whether it's in Spanish or in any other subject.
I've always wanted to be a music educator because my mother and my father were both educators. My mother was an elementary school teacher at Jefferson Elementary, and I really was inspired by watching her teach when I was little. Well, actually, one of the greatest things about the orchestra program is they perform all kinds of music. They perform rock music, they perform country music. We're going to be doing our musical here coming up in May. We're going to be doing Peter Pan. And so the kids get to do all kinds of stuff, not just classical. I like to think of myself as a mentor and not just as a teacher. I've had the joy of seeing several of my students actually become music educators themselves. They inspire me daily to be the educator that I am.
It's hard with the two languages in the classroom because my goal is to try to bring them together in one language, in English. They're very limited English, but they've got a grasp of what I want them to do, and they just need a little extra help sometimes.
You do need to have punctuations. Commas is not going to be good enough.
I was told once that because I'm so passionate, sometimes to the point of crying, that I needed to stick with teaching and I needed to continue to do it because I'm a good teacher.
So it was the wagon for her and the road for me.
One thing I hope they take from here when they leave and go on to high school is the strength and courage to stand up for themselves, to let their teachers know that they're here to learn, and that no matter what, I'm here for them. They can always come back and see me or talk to me or reach me, and I'm going to be here for them.
Free time? I don't think teachers got free time.
In my class, I'm working with kids that are coming from all different experiences with theater. Some are beginners, some are more comfortable. So I think what's fun for me is kind of sitting back and watching the stronger students kind of come in and take charge, and they kind of pull the other students up with them.
And what are we twirling about today?
Oh, Sebastian, I'm in love.
Oh, who's the lucky?
Theater is very multifaceted, and our program offers different pathways for students. So I think when they leave here, I want them to kind of know what that interest is. So even if they don't pursue necessarily theater when they leave here, at least I've equipped them with interview skills and interpersonal skills, skills from theater that they can apply wherever they decide to go.
And then grab him by his little pincher. Very gentle.
I feel like a lot of what I do is just listen and just let them feel heard, and kind of just let that be the first step of them working through what it means to be a teenager in this world.
And with the classes I teach, every class has a mix of 9 through 12, which is, it's a great thing, but it's also challenging because they all come in with different levels of knowledge. So it's really important for me to get to know them. If they know you care, then they're excited to come to your class and they're excited to learn because they feel welcome here.
It might be. If you go to file or open recent, it might be.
The CTE field, we teach a lot of technology, and technology changes. I feel like I wake up every day and something's different. So they really push me to step out of my comfort zone and try to learn things that I may not be that comfortable with. And I push them to do the same thing.
It's stuck in development.
What are you stuck on?
I would choose teaching over the commercial business world because it makes me happy. I tried that. I wasn't happy. This makes me happy. These students make me happy. This place makes me happy. And just seeing the amazing things that go on and the laughter we share and the little jokes we have, I wouldn't trade it.
At Quest Academy, we get students here that have special needs. Our classes are small, so I'm able to really get to know my students as people, as individuals in my classroom, but also I get to learn their learning styles, how they learn best. Here's my 2x plus 1, and then across the top, we're going to build x minus 4. Okay, so this has probably been my most special year as an educator. I have students that enter my classroom as intentional non-learners. That's a challenge that I embrace. I greet them with affirmation and acceptance. That's it, awesome. Many of my students enter my classroom without ever having a voice in a math classroom. So one of the things that I strive to do in my classroom is to give my students a voice. And that's one of the exciting things about being here at Quest. I wake up every morning excited to come and greet my students with enthusiasm and encourage them in all areas. I want to build their esteem and make them feel valuable in my classroom.
I'd say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll say thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.